Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining me in this voyage around South America. The second day is a very busy one. In this episode, I want to take you with me in a tour of Buenos Aires. We'll visit together the famous Recoleta Cemetery in search for, of course, Evita Peron funeral monument. And being in Argentina, of course, we'll dance some tango. This is 14 days at the end of the world, episode 2, Don't Cry for Me, Buenos Aires, or something like that. Despite an excellent night at Melia, Buenos Aires, the long flight and the jet lag messed up a little bit with my sleeping patterns. So, after waking up quite early in the morning, I decided to explore alone the area around the hotel. But first, I needed a liquid breakfast in the hotel bar. Now, Buenos Aires is an incredible place to visit. The city ranks as the third safest city in South America, and it's safer than Los Angeles, Mexico City, and Brussels. Still, as with any big city, you should exercise standard safety precautions. Buenos Aires, like most touristic places, has its fair share of petty theft and scams. So, don't use, for example, your phone on public transport. Wear your bag on the front side of your body on the street, and so on, exactly like you'll do in Paris, New York, or Rome. Now, my morning walk took me to the Plaza General San Martin, designed by the French landscape architect Carlos Thais and hosting the Monumento a los Caídos de Malvinas, a memorial dedicated to the 649 soldiers who died in the Falklands War. On my way back to the hotel, I remember that I skipped the breakfast and I decided to try a local brunch. Actually, the best steak and chorizo sandwich ever. And every sandwich comes with a homemade chimichurri sauce. So, shall we go for a walk? The Argentinian capital has a fascinating history. The city was first established on the 2nd of February 1536 by a Spanish expedition led by Pedro de Mendoza. The settlement founded by Mendoza was located in what is today the San Telmo district of Buenos Aires, south of the city center. An organized half-day tour gave me only a glimpse of what this impressive history is. A mandatory stop is Plaza del Mar, which has always been the focal point of political life in Buenos Aires, commemorating the May Revolution of 1810, which started the process towards the country's independence from Spain in 1816. After that, of course, Casa Rosada with its famous balcony from where Evita Peron used to salute the crowds. And of course, a tribute paid to the mothers of the Plaza del Mar, a movement started in 1977 aiming to open the public's eyes to what was the abuse of the military regime. This was the place where people have congregated with signs and pictures of desaparecidos, their children who were subject to forced disappearance by the Argentinian military government in the Dirty War, when people perceived to be supportive of subversive activities would be illegally detained, subject to abuse and torture, and finally murdered in secret. And after that, later, I stopped in La Boca, the famous neighborhood or barrio of the Argentinian capital, with its colorful houses and the pedestrian street called Caminito, where tango artists perform and tango-related memorabilia are sold. Once again, booking a tour with Get Your Guide, it's an excellent idea because always they are very careful with the guides that they choose. And Carolina, she's an excellent guide giving us an overview of the history of Argentina and Buenos Aires.
Sing me.
What do you want me to sing? Don't cry for me.
Yes, please.
Barbara Streisand.
Go on.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Everybody's doing these stupid things.
Yeah.
A must-do when you are in Buenos Aires, it's a Recoleta Cemetery, which was declared the city's first official public burial place in 1822, and now has more than 6,400 statues, sarcophagus, coffins, and crypts. While everybody will look for Evita Peron's resting place, try to find other unique spots in this labyrinth of shadowy walkways and towering marble mausoleums, reaching Art Deco, Art Nouveau, Baroque, and Neo-Gothic architectural style. It's a list with over 90 tombs listed as National Historical Monuments in the cemetery. For example, try to find the majestic black stone structures adorned with gigantic marble angels and Masonic imagery is the grave of La Paz family, the owners of the newspaper La Prensa, or discover the sad story of the Art Nouveau tomb of Rufina Cambaceres, another iconic tomb from the early 1900s, built in Carrara marble by Rufina's mother after it was discovered that Rufina had been mistakenly been buried alive. The tomb design bears all the hallmarks of her family's terrible grief. Also, look out for the mausoleum of Liliana Corriecetti, who died on her honeymoon in Austria in the 1970s. Her parents reconstructed her bedroom between her grave, and at the entrance they placed a bronze statue of Liliana in her wedding dress with her beloved dog at her side. And finally, you will discover the tomb of Eva Peron, which lies in a heavily fortified crypt some 5 meters underground to protect her remains. But don't forget to pick up a map at the entrance to be sure that you will not miss one single spot. Now in Recoleta Cemetery, maybe one of the most visited places in entire Buenos Aires. Everybody wants to see the mausoleum, the grave of the famous Evita Peron. But don't come here with too many expectations. The entire monument, it's exactly like was the life of Evita, a simple, humble one. A trip to Buenos Aires without an evening dedicated to tango will not be complete. I decided to book an evening with dinner and show in my last night in the Argentinian capital. Normally, when I travel, I try to avoid this tourist trap called dinner and show, because most of the time the food is the worst local gastronomic experience and the show, it's a little bit too commercial. But this time, my choice was the right one. El Viejo Almacén, located in the soul of the San Telmo neighborhood, it's internationally renowned as the most traditional tango house, the first one and the one that has better preserved the true identity of tango over the years. Now, the charming corner establishment was built in 1769 during the height of Viceroyalty of Rio de la Plata, and it was used as a warehouse. Later, during the war with Paraguay between 1865 and 1868, the premise was used to shelter wounded or sick soldiers. And finally, in the 1940s, it was turned into a British hospital. My evening there started with a surprisingly excellent dinner, which combined a sophisticated gourmet cuisine with great Argentinian wines, and continued with a 2-hour show in the Tangueria with an open bar. It was the perfect balance between authentic flavors and touristic attractions. The Argentinian tango originates from the end of the 19th century, from the suburbs of Buenos Aires. Argentinian tango is dance in an embrace can vary from very open, in which leader and follower connect at arm's length, to very closed, in which the connection is chest to chest or anywhere else in between. Argentinian tango is dance counterclockwise around the outside of the dance floor and relies heavily on improvisation. Tango dance is essentially walking with a partner and the music. According to Argentinian tango school, a good dancer is one who transmits a feeling of the music to the partner, leading them effectively through the dance floor. And let me take you in a breathtaking trip in the tango's world of Carlos Gardel and Astor Piazzolla, recreated on the stage of El Viejo Almacén.
Vuelvo cansada de todo y en mi corazón lloran los años. Mi vida busca tan solo la tranquilidad del viejo barrio. Y encuentro todo cambiado menos tu canción, milonga mía. El progreso ha destrozado toda la emoción de mi hogar. maestro, señor Hugo Marcel.
I'm at the end of my 2-day stay in Buenos Aires, and I can tell you that I fall in love with this town. I fall in love with Melia, Buenos Aires, and with the people here in the capital city of Argentina. I don't know who's saying all the time online that Buenos Aires is not a safe city. It is. It's as safe as London, Paris, Milan, Rome. You can name it. If you are stupid enough to walk on the street like a tourist with a map in your hand and with your backpack full of money behind your back, of course you'll be the perfect victim in any of these capital cities. For me, Buenos Aires was an absolutely incredible experience, a very pleasant place, a place where I like to go. That's all for this episode. In tomorrow's episode, we'll board together Norwegian Star. I will give you a private tour of my cabin, a 2-bedroom villa, and you are invited to a sail away celebration, the actually start of our cruise around South America. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central European Time on YouTube channel Leonard Miner 1969 on board of Norwegian Star. And don't forget that yesterday is but today's memory and tomorrow is today's dream. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.